Lapponia is one of the best remembered Finnish songs in the Eurovision Song Contest, and when it competed in 1977, this was considered the first time that Finland had an honest shot at actually winning. The singer was a blonde beauty that had a successful career in Finland, but also in Sweden, since she was the one to replace Marie Bergman in the two-time Eurovision participating group Family 4. Welcome to Eurovision Legends. I am Emil Löfström. Cue the jingle. Welcome to Eurovision Legends, Monica Aspelund.
Thank you. Hi there, everyone.
How are you?
I'm just great, thank you.
Wonderful.
You seem to be all right, too.
Tell me, Monica, how come a young girl from Finland joined one of Sweden's biggest bands, Family 4?
Through the agent, I was contacted, and they told me that Family 4 needs a replacement for Marie Bergman. She was starting her own career. So I thought, well, why not? Off I went. That was a very short notice, by the way. I went for an audition, flew to Stockholm. I was accepted. And after a few days, I flew back and we started rehearsal. We had only 2 weeks to rehearse in Stockholm. And then we drove through southern Sweden to Gothenburg. And that's where we had our gig coming up. So for another 2 weeks, we were just rehearsing every day. That was a lot for me to take in. I felt honored to be a member of the group.
Well, I understand your first participation in the national pre-selection was in 1975 with the song Fasten Seatbelts.
Yes, with my sister.
Yes, exactly. Tell me about your little group, Mon Ami.
Mon Ami, the name consisted of our names. So my sister, her actual name is Anne-Marie, but nobody calls her by that name. Everybody calls her Ami. It was Lasse Mårtensson who wrote that song. And he had contacted us and asked us to sing this song. And I guess this was the year after Waterloo, right?
Yeah.
So we were a little bit inspired with the costumes, a little bit in that direction.
Fasten seatbelts, get up and fly, there's music in the air. Masta irti lentoon, noustaan meillä kestävää. Hyppää mukaan sakkiin rentoon, tänään suotuisa on sää. Niin, fasten seatbelts, get up and fly, there's music in the air.
What was it like to have a parallel careers with your sister? Did you have any friendly rivalries?
There's never been rivalries. No. It runs in the family.
Yeah.
And we thought it was wise for us to continue with our separate careers, that she wouldn't be burdened with the idea, oh, she's riding on big sister's experiences. So I sort of let her build up her career first.
1 year later, you were back in the pre-selection with the song Joikku, written by Arno Raninen. And before we talk about this song, I will play a snippet from it here.
Okay.
remember it?
No, not well. Of course, I remember parts of it, but not that much. It's not worth trying to sing it without a background here. But yeah, it was a try. It was an attempt to make it to the Eurovision Song Contest. So we had the Eurovision Song Contest in mind when we did it. I wrote the lyrics, and well, that was a nice try.
The first of your songs that I have ever heard was Lapponia, and when I later heard Joiku, I was struck by the great similarities between the two of them.
Yes, they both had the Lapland theme.
Yeah,
it was supposed to be exotic nationalism, something, I don't know. They were supposed to represent something that is typical for your country, and so they was hooked up on this Lapland idea.
You finished in 6th place out of 9, and another evergreen won a ticket to Hague in Netherlands. One year later, in 1977, for the third time in a row, you were back in the national pre-selection, and now it was your time to win.
Yes.
Hey, manana, 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 Lapponia, tämä on Lapponia, josta pohjan kauniin, neitosen kutsuu kaikuu.
Can you take us back to the national pre-selection in 1977? What are your memories of it?
It was a very hectic time, and of course, the pre-selection, you don't know at that point that you actually going to represent your country. But even to make it through that stage or step, you have to focus very, very, very much. It's a lot of pressure and a lot of commercialism and things that come with the whole package. But it came as a surprise that, okay, here we go. We got it. And then, of course, I got sick, and we were closing in on, fortunately, that year, the Eurovision Song Contest was postponed. So it was in May rather than that.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, hopefully I'm getting well till it's time. I was better, but I was still sick in London.
Yeah.
But I took during Easter, I took 1 week off and went to Israel, and to just get away from it all. It was a crazy time.
In 1977, the language rule was brought back in the contest 4 years after it had been dropped in 1973. But Germany and Belgium were allowed to sing in English because they had already chosen the songs that they were going to perform before the rule was reintroduced.
Right.
How disappointed were you about this rule change?
To be honest, I was upset because the year before, Finland was represented in English, and now they said that I could not go in English. I couldn't go in any other language. And I was thinking that staying there on the stage, I thought, well, it's a direct sending, the broadcasting. I said, I can't be interrupted if I sing in Swedish because Swedish happens to be the second official language of Finland.
Yeah.
So that couldn't interfere with any rules. And so I thought that would be something. But then I thought, well, apparently I'm not going to win. So if I come home and not win, having sang in Swedish, they would kill me. And so, and the other thing is that we were standing by our mics already at that time. So I thought I could not leave my spot and go back to the backing vocals and say, hey, we're going Swedish. And I said, they don't know that I'm planning on singing it in Swedish, and they go in Finnish. So that's going to be a mess. So I had trained it so much. I had rehearsed it so much in Finnish. So it was sitting in my tongue at the top. And besides, I had to think, just focus on that 3-stroke G. Don't take any risks here or any extra burdens here. So I sang in Finnish then. But I remember the Germans song. They said that it was a group, and they asked for a permission to sing in English. And their excuse was that one of the members of the group had such a poor German accent, so they got by with that. But like you said, the Netherlands song, no, it was a Belgian song.
Yeah, the Belgian song.
Yes.
Yeah, A Million in 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Need a million in 1, 2, 3. Can't you do a little work for me? Mr. President, can't you see? I'm never gonna get higher. Need a million in 1, 2, 3. I'm not too clumsy as you can see. Affect the feeling inside of me. Feel my need and desire now.
They didn't even ask for permission to, and English is not their national language anyway, so they were not disqualified. So I thought, well, I could have gone in Swedish. But anyway, yeah, it was a big thing with the language barrier here.
You recorded the song Lapponia in 6 different languages.
Yes, I did.
Do you remember which ones?
Well, Finnish, and then I did it in Swedish.
Lapponia, detta är Lapponia. Se den röda solen lysa på vinterns vidder.
I think, if I'm not wrong, I think it was Stickan Andersson who translated it in Swedish, because I didn't have time to translate it. Then I sang it in English.
If you need to get away, I know some place where we can stay, far away from the city. It's peaceful.
And in German.
Och du har morgen bei meinen Sitz, och du född nu in der Saunaschwitz.
And in French.
Och ma bella folie, ciel est tout gris. Oui, mais je les yeux qui.
And then the 6th version is actually, it was in Dutch.
Yeah.
Hej, isoleer tegen het koudste weer. Uw hele huis met platen van Aspelund. Wat een gemak. Gaat van een lege dak met perplexplaten. Platen van Aspelund. Perplexplaten van Aspelund.
But it's like a commercial song. It is a commercial for a company. So it's not like a pop official pop song in Dutch, but same background, same song, but just in Dutch.
I don't know if this is true, but I've read that you today don't like to sing the Finnish version because of the lyrics.
Yeah.
And that you wrote yourself.
Exactly. I was more or less pressured writing this kind of lyrics. I have compromised. I sing the refrain on gigs. I do it in Finnish for the Finnish audience. But I'm not happy with the philosophy. It touches a very touchy area because it slips into faith, religious things. And I didn't feel comfortable about singing about flying witches and all that. So that's not for me. I was so uncomfortable that I even wrote that, but I felt pressured into doing so. But hey, with so many language versions, I can just take my pick. So I usually sing it in English, German, and then the refrain appears so many times, so I can go on and take different versions of Lapponia, going to Lapponia, and Lapponia, Fabanacht Lapponia, or Lapponia, and so on, So you can give us the whole package to the listener there. And also that part of the song I can sing in Finnish because it's like a commercial for a travel business.
And however, it was a big success in Finland and a smaller hit in Sweden, and are still one of the most loved songs from the Eurovision Song Contest scene 40 years later.
Yeah, time flies when you're having fun.
I talked to the Israeli singer from this year, Ilani.
ישירו השמיים, אהבה השיר לשניים, העולם כולו צוחק אליי ושר, כמה טוב, כמה טוב, ישירו השמיים.
And she told me about the bad economy this year Eurovision was the victim of. And it was badly executed. Do you remember anything about this?
Back in 77?
Yeah.
I wasn't following those days, being so aware and updated in economics.
Because usually, or to say nearly always, between the songs, when they clear the stage of musicians and instruments, they show a postcard to present the next country.
Exactly.
But this year, the camera instead showed the audience in the hall, just sitting there waiting. Well,
really?
Yes. And that's one way of saving money on stamps.
Oh, my goodness. But back in 77, they put in on the screen, they put the postcards from different countries.
But not for the viewers.
Not for the viewers?
No, because if you see this again, if you see the whole Eurovision 1977...
Really?
Yes, there's no postcard.
My goodness. I never saw it. But I could see it on the monitors. I could see the... Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Marie Myriam won with the anthem L'Oiseau à l'Enfant.
Yes.
Was it the right winner?
Yes, it was the right winner.
Comme un enfant aux yeux de lumière qui voit passer au loin les oiseaux, comme l'oiseau bleu survolant la terre, nous trouverons ce monde d'amour. L'amour, c'est toi. L'amour, c'est moi.
She was the youngest in the pack there. And she was so humble. And she didn't make a big number of herself. She just came there with her sweet little person, and she sang her heart out. And I was backstage in the dark and watching her on a monitor there, and I almost cried. It was so different, so honest, so melodical, and so emotional. Just so I was happy for her. I was really happy she won.
You never got back to the pre-selection in Finland. How come?
A good question, by the way. 77. What happens?
Because I want to ask, the year after, in 1978, you released an album. And on this particular album is a song called Löpande band.
Okay.
Also written by the same composer as Lapponia and Joiku. And what I understood, this was sent to the national pre-selection, but was rejected.
Allt går som på löpande band och sista modet är en stupande hand och vi är som seriefigurer som har jeans av samma modell och ingen är väl särskilt individuell. Men du, vad tog vi själva vägen? Alla är lika. Ingen ger vika för det krav vi alla känner av. Standardisera, mekanisera ner
At least I can't remember. But yeah, I remember the song. I wrote the lyrics. På löpande band, in English I call it beating, booming, pounding machines produce the latest fashion in magazines, and it seems that we are all copies of one another. That was strongly influenced of ABBA's song called What's the Name of the Game? So the first title for it never became official though, but we had it like, that's the name of the game, like an answer to that question. But it became beating, booming, pounding machines. Yeah, so that was interesting.
What happened after this period? I know you moved to Florida.
Yeah, but not right away. I moved to Florida back in 83. So this is like
5 years.
Yeah, 5 years, yeah. So what happens in my life then? We're still in the 70s. Yeah, there was a lot of things happening in my private life. My son was born in 81. That was very strange times. And then I had this gig coming up on the Caribbean cruise lines. So that triggered off the time when to make preparations and the big move over there. And of course, you had to prepare for that. That was a big step.
Yeah.
And you just take your little toddler. He had just turned 2 years old. You pack your suitcases and step out in faith upon thin air. In all respects, I mean, financially, whatever it is. And people said that I'm going to come back like a boomerang right away back. But people do so, and they're going to be so disappointed in the United States and blah, 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 blah. And so not so for me.
No?
I liked it. It matched my expectations more than fully. They said it's not like on movies. I said, hey, I'm not going to the United States to watch a movie. If I need to do so, I can go to the closest cinema theater. And I fell in love, of course, with the language. English had been a strong language. Of course, in this business, English is a strong language. But, you don't just buy an airplane ticket fare and say, hello, here I am. You have to build every step before you step upon it.
Yeah.
So the first trip took a year. I was just recognizing, going around, trying to... Yeah, I even started from the yellow pages in the phone books.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And started my way, rented a car and started and called and made appointments with people. And I had demo materials with me. And then, of course, to balance the whole thing with the babysitters and being there for your child. So it was a three-way tearing apart of yourself and trying to beat the time and get something established and done. So yeah, it was learning. And then comes next summer. I would always come back to the Scandinavia in the summer, and I tried to maintain some kind of Swedish for my son, so that he could converse with families and relatives. Yeah.
This year, it's been 45 years since you first participated in the Finnish pre-selection. Mm. And it has been 60 years since you released your first single. But nevertheless, you are still going strong. And a little bird whispered in my ear that you are going to release a new album very soon.
That's right. Really, I have never heard of anything taking such a long time. I mean, I had all the odds coming against me. I used to, back in the 90s, I used to work with a pianist, a composer, arranger. He was a recording engineer at the YLE, national TV company of Finland. He also had a private studio. I would spend a lot of times in his studio, and we ended up doing a lot of products that he would arrange. He would play all the instruments. He would record it. I would sing it, and most of the material is standards from the good old time when they composed real music. And I would, to these originals, I would write the lyrics as well. Tuomo passed away in 2003, all of a sudden, very unexpected. So all our stuff was tucked in somewhere in his storage, but most of the material had been recorded on an old technique. So, and he had switched, updated his technique since. So there was a big thing to try to get hands on these sources, especially when they had been finalized, mixed already, so you couldn't separate them anymore. And this, I went to, his daughter lives in his house now, and she had helped me look and search for the material, and we made a lot of lists and so on. I found a lot of our stuff, took it to different places, but no one could put it. When the Humpty Dumpty egg is fallen, you can't put it back again. So the only answer I got was that, hey, you got to do it from scratch again. And I thought, well, that's not the same. Have somebody else do what he had done. And besides, my voice was in a very good shape back in the 90s when we had the recession. Now lately I have taken it to another recording engineer, and he said, his name is Robbie de Kosinski. They have come up with a new technique now that they can separate and delete certain things.
Yeah.
And we tried it, and it worked.
Wonderful.
Wonderful, yes. It has, I mean, how many decades are we talking now? I'm working on information for the CD and the cover and all the technical things that needs to be done and so on. But we're getting closer now, finally.
When will the album be released?
Well, I hope that I can get it released before midsummer. That is the 24th of June.
Maybe we can play a preview of it here.
I'll be sure to supply you with some samples.
Can you pick 4 songs that you really love from this album?
Okay, it's going to be hard to pick one. The first one that comes to mind is Michel Legrand's What Are You Doing the Rest of Your Life?
What are you doing the rest of your life? North and south and east and west of your life. I have only one request of your life, that you spend it all with me. All the seasons and the times of your days, all the nickels and the dimes of your days. Let the reasons and the rhymes of your days all begin and end with me. I want to see your face in every kind.
The second one is Stardust.
When our love was new, and each kiss and inspiration a song.
And the third one is Even Till the End. And the CD is called Even Till the End. So that's the title of the CD as well.
Softly as a sigh of summer, like a brush of wings in motion, I can hear it. That's the spirit of the summer sweet devotion. And that word is such a heart. He rejoices, making noises, vocalizing, harmonizing, sings his heart out as he starts out flying.
The fourth one would be a song that I composed in 1993, and I had the Eurovision Song Contest in mind. But when I wrote the lyrics, I was inspired by the circumstances. We were all voting whether or not to join the union. So learning how the biblical story goes, both from the book of Daniel and the book of Revelation, how they connect, I thought, well, here's the song, the title of the song. EU, who are you?
For devouring animals would conquer one another by turns. First get one golden head, that's Babylon, Babylon. And then came two silver arms, a silver chest, that's Medo Persia. Greece came in third, out of brass were the thighs and belly. Rome came fourth, as fourth on iron legs. She stood and fell on towns of clay and iron. Tell me, who are you? The Roman Empire being revived, and the head that was bruised, a dream come true.
You can stream these songs or bought the album, hopefully, before Midsummer.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much for this, Monica. It was fantastic.
I hope you got something out of it.
Yes, I really have. And thanks to you, the listener. It's an amazing feeling to reach out to such a wonderful audience. Opinions, questions, or suggestions are more than welcome. Use our social media accounts or email me at emil@schlagervannorna.se. And don't forget to subscribe so you always are up to date with new episodes. Kiitos Monica, iso halja kaikkia hyvä sinulle.
Din finska är lite sämre än min.
Yes, it is. Finnish must be the hardest language in the whole world.
Yeah, verkligen. It is. I mean, I can get by in Finnish, but I have lost the little I used to know. I can function, I can write lyrics, but it takes time.
Yeah.
It's very time consuming. And you need a lot of inspiration. But yes, but I've noticed that I have lost all of my languages. I'm losing my English dramatically. I'm losing my Finnish, and I'm working on my Swedish. I'm trying to build up my Swedish back again. I didn't have anyone to speak Swedish to in the United States. I mean, one or two persons, but that's it.
Yeah.
So at the moment, I'm non-linguistic. To wrap it up, I would like to send a hello to Petri Ojala. I understand that he's struggling with his health, and I wish him all the best even recovery. So my way of saying hello to Petri is Lapponia. Tämä on Lapponia, josta pohjan kauniin neitosen kutsuu kaikuu.